pray us in to start off, and then we can get going. Alrighty. Dear Lord, thank you for this amazing opportunity for us to all gather here together on this cold but still amazing morning. Lord, I hope you speak through me and that the message I deliver today will inspire thought. Let any false words not in accordance with your word go in one ear and not the other. And here we go. Amen. Alrighty. Though Thanksgiving just passed, I think it's never a bad time to talk about giving and being thankful for all of God's gifts. More specifically, giving in regards to your time. I did some light reading and found an article creatively titled, "We've Broken Down Your Entire Life into Years Spent Doing Tasks," written by Leigh Campbell and published by the Huffington Post last year. The numbers are rounded for simplicity, but here's what I've gathered. The average person lives to be 79. In that time, the person will spend about 3 years sleeping, 13 years at work, 11 years on screen time, it's a little scary, 4.5 years eating, 3 years on holiday or traveling, and 2 years focused on socializing, and 1.5 exercising. That leaves about 11 years for us to do about everything else that we would like to do. Now we are left with this choice. What do we do with our time? Now this will seem like an odd transition, but it'll hopefully tie up in the end, so hear me out. I have based this message over Luke 21, 1-4, which you have on your handout. Picture this scene. The city was crowded for the Passover celebration. People came from all over to give their tithes, or 1/10 of their annual earnings, and other offerings to the Lord. Many of the rich people put in large sums. There were no credit cards or common forms of paper currency at that point, so you can imagine the amount of noise this created as metal coins were being deposited. The sound, in a sense, served to bring more attention to the one giving their offering. Not only that, but in Matthew 6:2, it tells us that some wealthy people even had a trumpet fanfare to announce their offering. But among these proud and prominent men was a widow. She inconspicuously slipped in to put her 2 coins into the treasury. A small offering, probably not even a modest one, by most people's standards. They hardly made a sound, and she slipped away shortly after. She most likely did not know that she had been seen or even taken notice to. But Jesus had seen her, and he was so impressed by her offering that he called his disciples to him to use her as an object lesson for the kind of giving that pleases God. Jesus tells them that the woman's offering was bigger than anyone else's who had been through. Jesus knew the hearts of the people who had been through, and that they had all been giving out of their abundance. He said, "Truly I say to you, that this poor widow has put in more than all. For all of these have, out of their abundance, have put their offerings in for God. But she, out of her poverty, for all the livelihood that she had." They were giving out of their leftovers, while she was putting her full trust in God to take care of her needs. The rich made sure that their expenses had been paid and whatever else they wanted to do first. Then they put in what was left. This way of thinking, or at least the way the rich in the story were at least, disregards the fact that God is the one who gives us everything we have in the first place. It all belongs to him, including our time. When we give to him, we honor him by acknowledging that he is the source of all of our blessings. God will provide for all of our needs. God wants us to devote time to spending time with his people, loving and serving them with the gifts we are given, as well as spending time with him to grow our faith and relationship with him. We as people do typically find the value of time, and as a result usually try to save or manage it. We save time by taking shortcuts, ordering things online instead of shopping in store. And we save time by having other people do things for us. We are called to be stewards of all that God has given us, including time. But further, we are called out to not only organize our time, but to redeem it. And how would you go about doing that? We are indeed called to be good time managers, but furthermore, we are called to be good opportunity managers. It isn't about counting the time that makes time count in one way or another. It's about making the time count. To make it a little more fun. It's not just time, but proper timing as well. You will receive the same number of hours each day, but perhaps never the same opportunities. The question I'm going to pose to you at this point, or for you to consider, is: are you blinded by your problems, the problems you have with the lack of time, or do you focus on the opportunities God is opening up before you each and every day? In a way, this can directly relate to the way we currently choose to manage our time, or relate to the average 11 years. It is remarkably hard to build a relationship or skill set if you only work on it once or twice a week. You wouldn't spend once or twice a week practicing or learning something if you wanted to retain that information or become really skillful. You would seek to spend all the time you could on it. In the end, we will not be faced with the question of how well did we save or manage our time. We will be faced with the question of how well did we do at redeeming our time and making the most out of the opportunities that God sent our way. Overall, this can serve as a reminder to us to make time in our day and in our lives for our relationship with him, and not just find the extra time in our day. That's all I've got. Isaac?
Heavenly Father God, we just thank you for the amazing opportunity to come into a public school, God, and just preach your name, Lord. Lord, I pray that you give us the strength to be good stewards of everything you've given us, Lord, and that we'd use it all to glorify you, God, not only today, but, God, every day of our lives, every second, every minute. So, God, I pray that you'd help us just focus on that, focus on your truth today and throughout the rest of the week, and help us honor and glorify you. So, in your name I pray.